My name is Bert, and this is the Still Life Podcast. Welcome back to the Still Life Podcast. As always, I am your host, Bert. Here we are, another day, another episode. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what's happening right now. So, after everything that happened yesterday and the kind of emotional evening that I had, dealing with frustrations and disappointment, I had to, get up today and turn over a new leaf. So I've really just come to terms with the fact that I need to find a job. It really doesn't matter what I'm doing so much as it does I'm bringing home money so that I can pay my bills. Now, while that's not an ideal situation, I've got to do something. I've got to have a purpose. I've got to get out there and get back to work. I can't sit at home anymore, obviously, because I have bills to pay, but also when you don't have that purpose day in and day out, or that task that you have to accomplish or those goals from day to day, it can really bring a person down, and really it's been mentally challenging for me not necessarily having to have drive day in and day out to get anything accomplished. And, it's been a struggle mentally, and so I've got to get myself out of it, and the only way to do that is to return to work. Now, again, I don't have a choice because I have to make money so I can pay my bills, because unfortunately those bills have not been on pause or stopped while I've been out of work. So I'm applying to just about anything I feel like I can qualify for. And while there's a lot of professionals out there that say, oh, well, that's a terrible idea, you shouldn't apply for all these things because your name will get out there, that you apply for everything. But at the same time, I don't have another option. I have bills to pay. They don't stop coming in. So I just have to find something so that I have money coming in so I can pay the bills. So I really don't have a choice to be particular about where I'm applying to or what I'm applying for. I just have to get something. Even if it's something I may not particularly want to do, at this point, it doesn't matter what I want to do. I have to do something. And I mean, it sucks to be in this position. So, why would employers want to make it harder? Well, you've applied for all these jobs, so we're not interested in you because you just apply for everything. And it's like, well, I really don't have another option, because jobs aren't just falling into my lap, which is unfortunate. I feel like I should be getting job offers all over the place because I have this wonderful skill set at my disposal that I'm willing to use to help grow your company. But, unfortunately, all these companies don't see it that way. And because they don't see it that way, well, here we are. I'm applying for whatever I can get my hands on that I feel like I'm halfway qualified for, just so that I can go back to work and pay my bills. And both to my benefit and my detriment, I certainly didn't do things the traditional way. I tried going to college right after high school, and I was so burnt out on school that I dropped out. I just wasn't enjoying it, and I ended up joining the military. While I got a bunch of education in the military, and, my post-military life got education as a brewer, that served me really well up until about 7 months ago when I had back surgery. And now that I have back surgery, I don't want a super physical job because I don't want to have back surgery again. So I'm having to look at other opportunities within the alcohol industry, such as working for a distributor doing sales, or, as a brand rep or something like that. And also I'm having to look at other industries I have worked in previously. The firearm industry, doing customer service, doing sales, not my favorite things, although I did enjoy my time in the firearms industry. Customer service and sales aren't my favorite, but if I have to do them, I'll do them. At this point, like I said, it's about making money, being able to pay my bills. I can look at, something more desirable or more rewarding for myself at a later time. Now, like I said last night, my ultimate dream gig would be coaching, training, mentoring, teaching others, and helping others to learn and grow and improve. Whether that's in mixed martial arts or in some kind of a corporate setting or whatever the case may be, I enjoy building people up, teaching people new information, and helping people take that new information and be successful with it. That's what I am super, super passionate about, and I feel like I'm pretty doggone good at it too. It's just finding someone who will give me the opportunity to do that in a work setting, in a work environment, and let me grow and help improve others at the same time. Now, again, I don't have any kind of like Six Sigma stuff. I don't have a degree, so that hurts. But at the same time, I've got over 20 years of work and real life experience. And for me, 9 times out of 10, that trumps a college degree. Anybody can sit down and read a book, but it's putting that stuff into practice day in and day out in a work environment, in a combat environment, wherever it is, it doesn't matter, but you know how to use it in a practical setting. One of the unique things about my time spent in brewing school at the Siebel Institute of Technology was that it wasn't all about knowing everything. It was about using your resources to find the information you need and then applying that how you need to use it. And that's really what college should be about, in my opinion. It shouldn't be, well, you have to know all these things in order to graduate. No, you should know how to use your resources to find the answers that you need to get the job done. Now, there are exceptions to that. Obviously, you don't want a surgeon that has no idea how to do surgery and they're asking everybody how to do it. Not exactly best practice. However, in most fields, most of what we do is asking people that have more knowledge than we do. It doesn't matter if you're working at McDonald's or you're working for an engineering firm. You're asking other people for advice, for input, and for help for the things that you don't know how to do. You're using the resources at your disposal to do your job as quickly, efficiently, and to the best of your ability. So why don't colleges emulate real-world learning experiences? I don't know. I wish I had an answer. I mean, I kind of do. They're these massive, profit centers. There's so much profit in education. It's insane. Morally, I think for the most part that it's wrong. There's nothing wrong with making money, but doing it at the expense of real learning opportunities is a problem. And listen, I'm all for teachers making 6 figures, but it shouldn't be at the expense of kids paying a ton of money for a whole bunch of information they're probably or may never actually use in the real world. That's just not right. And believe me, I could go on for hours about the demise of secondary and post-secondary education in the United States. We are so far behind other developed countries because a lot of schools are way more concerned with having you take classes you don't need to take just so they can make money. Most 4-year degrees, I believe, should take 2 years or less if you're actually studying what you need to study. Had I found a brewing program at a 4-year school, I would have spent 2 to 2.5 years taking college algebra and all these science and English classes that I don't need in order to be a professional brewer and make beer. But the colleges would have been making a bunch of money off of me, so it would have been okay. When in all actuality, I should be able, and in this case, I got my certifications in 2.5 years, the equivalent of what would be a master's, so a 4 to 6 year program. And I did it in 2.5 years because I didn't have to take any of the nonsense BS classes that I didn't need to do my job. Again, going on a little bit of a rant here because it's frustrating. I have a 16-year-old daughter that's looking at school. She's not looking at college now because it's just not practical. She's looking at a technical school. It's trade school. She's wanting to be a beautician. So, she's looking at hair academies and beautician schools and things like that because, again, she doesn't need to spend the next 4 years of her life post-high school taking a bunch of classes that she's never going to need in the real world. And unfortunately, the last generation has almost been lost to the trades because it's been pushed down our throats that we need a 4-year degree. We need to have a degree. Oh, you got to have a bachelor's. You got to have a master's. You got to get a doctorate. No, that's a load of crap. trades are so freaking important, and they're so short-handed now because that got pushed down our throats for so long, and it just wasn't true. And I believe that starting in high school, we should let kids start to experiment with what they want to do or what they think they want to do in the real world. And we should start tailoring courses and education pathways based on these career choices. Now, I'll say if I'd have known in high school that I could have been a brewer, I probably would have started before I was in my 30s, but I had no idea that was an actual viable career field. So we need to show these kids what all is out there, let them be curious and let them explore while they're young. Because when you get to be my age and you're still trying to figure out what the hell you want to do when you grow up, it's a whole lot tougher to get a job. And with that, I'd like to thank you for joining me today on the Still Life Podcast. As always, for questions, comments, topic ideas, or suggestions, you can reach us at thestilllifepodcast@gmail.com. That's thestilllifepodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again for joining me today on the Still Life Podcast, and we'll talk again soon.